Good morning. Alright, let's start with the disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial product. All content is for informational purposes only, based on personal opinions and experiences. Trading futures, options, and other financial instruments involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for every investor. You can lose more than your initial investment, so always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial professional. Alright, very good. So looking at the news today now, it's pretty much just the EIA. This MBA 30-year mortgage rate already came out. We've got EIA at 10:30 and then Fed speaker at 12, and that's it. So pretty light on the news today, which I'm not complaining about. Oh, sorry, I just had to pause there for a second. But anyway, getting started. Or I guess we'll do the pre-market sheet first, right? So let's do the pre-market sheet. Get the TPO out. Okay, so pre-market sheet, we started one time framing. So if I bring up this is the weekly, just the weekly bars. You can see we started one time framing higher now on the weekly, and we also, it doesn't look as pretty, but we started one time framing on the daily as well. So we're one time framing higher on both of those now. Both actually started. So weekly and daily, both one time framing higher. You're in a small gap higher, but overall you're still within this composite. So I just said you're still in a balanced condition. You are overlapping sideways the past couple days. There was no gap yesterday. Last swing high is here. We actually broke through it in the overnight, which is what I'll go through after. Overnight came like boop all the way up to like here, I think 64 something, and then came back down. And so I have to check, but it was likely something on the wires, the news wires. So I just have to go through it. I usually do that just right before the open. But anyway, so is the last complete major swing high or low weak? So we know swing high is weak, but it was broken. And then yesterday I said decent excess on both sides. The high's a bit worse, where the low's a bit better, but they're both all right. Like I said, we started one time framing higher on the weekly and the daily. The current point of control trend is sideways. Value area range was compressing in here, I mentioned. So yeah, and then key levels. As for key levels, really above us, we've got obviously all this naked stuff here. Naked VPOCs, naked settles, prior week's highs, 63.44 right around here. This is where the swing high is. So we broke it in the overnight session. But yeah, so you've got all this stuff. You've got overnight high. You've got the prior high from 2 days ago, from Monday, I think. Monday's high. And then, yeah. And then for below us, it's pretty much the same. You've got, yesterday's high, because we're in a small gap high right now. But we may close it before the open, so we've got overnight low, we've got settle, we've got 5-day VPOC here, we've got yesterday's low. And I should mention everything above this 63.44, everything above the swing high, the last swing high that I reference, is still gap. Like, gaps for me need to be filled in the RTH session to count, to like be valid cleanup, I guess. So yeah, so that's good. So let's move to the TPO, I guess, and we'll show it as both. so we can see what the full session looks like as well. Let's get our pen out, make sure it works. All right, so yeah, again, sort of nothing burger day yesterday. I had no trades again. We were pretty much in balance. It was a neutral day. Um, and so yeah, pretty balanced overall. But you can see we've made a nice looking sort of composite here now. And with sort of decent compression, which is just like this sort of tight overlap is what I call compression. Um, and the way I interpret it, at least, is when it gets really tight like this, it leads to, it can only lead to one thing, which is a breakout, right? So um, that's the way I see that. And so you did get the breakout in the overnight, but you're now sort of falling back in. And so falling back into here is not really a good sign for continuation on the long side, at least in my eyes. Like either from there you balance and then you check or you check lower. But if you balance, then after the balance you could sort of go either way again. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So you've got nice compression here, and you had the nice breakout in the overnight. You're in a small gap higher, and you broke this swing high in the overnight, and you went all the way up to like here. Like I said, was likely something to do with the news, because you don't usually see those moves often. Yeah, so I guess I'll go right into potential scenarios we could have from today, because like basically for me at least, this sort of area is going to be blocking off, like if this zone is sort of value and balance, like under here, like I guess this to this, we'll say, um then like falling back into here is not really convincing. This is sort of like a VWAP sandwich to me. Like I don't really want to engage here unless it's just passing through, like which it could do after the check to the high side. So like that would be one scenario where we checked the high side, we found our sellers up here above the swing high, and we couldn't extend, so let's just go check the low side. That was a pretty good test considering it was in the overnight. So then it sort of passes through and goes pretty quick. That's okay, but you'd have to watch, right? And like these levels would have to be getting respected, like the settle and that kind of stuff. So, but you could do this and sort of pass through and go down to check down here, like these lows now, because this is also weak. Like they're good individual lows, but they're one tick apart, right? So that makes it weaker, at least in my eyes. So yeah, but like we could go for this low and potentially continue down to like here, or like I said here, which is still a zone I'll be watching for. But likely not today. We likely won't do that today, at least. But yeah, that would be sort of a larger move. But if you get below these lows, then it looks pretty good if you can stay below them. Whoops, and so I guess I shouldn't have marked off that zone, but we have that same balance zone, so like if this area then holds, like this high preferably, but really because the VPOCs are all in here, you could go down really to the settle. Settle again, like settle lines up with this MC VPOC, so this area is really sort of the line in the sand for this long continuation, at least in my eyes. But you could come down and find support in and around this area. Like really, it could be anywhere from here to here, like this high to settle. But that could be used as a potential pullback to continue higher. We have initiated the one time framing on all the on the weekly and the daily, right? So there is a long bias, or at least a long move that is trying to happen, right? Um, so yeah, so we could bounce off that and continue higher and preserve these lows. Because I guess, yeah, now that I think about the one time framing, these breaking these lows at least breaks RTH one time framing. Um, oh, actually, no, that would be wrong. We wouldn't be RTH one time framing because, yeah, that's right. 61.48, 61. Yeah, so we broke it yesterday in the RTH, but it was preserved or initiated in the full session. So never mind, scratch that. It wouldn't break there likely. It'd be the overnight lows. Yeah, so we could bounce and continue. Like, it doesn't look to me like we're gonna actually open in a gap. Like, we've sort of just been on this grind higher, but this price action, and maybe we can see it better from the 30-minute. Oh, this is ES. Yeah, this overnight, yeah, so it likely was news. You can see like we had the big spike off something that I have to figure out what. And then really you just sort of grind lower, sort of balanced, held full session. You're holding full session VWAP this whole time. Broke lower, checked full session VWAP again, held, and continued lower, right? So it doesn't look to me at least that we'll be able to maintain this gap. We always could. If we do end up opening in a gap, I'm sure it'll be small. It's already small, so I'm not going to give too much weight to the gap open today. Especially like I said, because you are still in just a broader MC area, right? Like we've just been trading sideways in this whole range the whole time. So yeah, so I guess we can stay on the overnight. Yeah, overnight value looks good. Or actually, I did want to look at the full session. That's why, or the extended session. Yeah, so you can see, right? Like balance, balance, balance. Balance, balance, balance. We break higher. I mean, good overnight high. That's a nice excess, right? We basically did no trade there. So, yeah. I think that supports, like, I don't know, like, I'm aware of the, one time framing and all the bullishness. I do still, there's honestly nothing I could really say about it because all the signs are long. I just am still leaning to the short side, I guess. Or, like, I have a feeling at least that we want to go to the short side. We'll see. Like, I could easily be wrong, but that feeling that I had yesterday hasn't really gone away. Nothing's really changed for me, other than that test higher that seemingly has gotten rejected, right? So, yeah, so really we want to see the reaction in this area. This area will be important, and if we can get below settle, then it looks good. It definitely looks good for a yesterday's low push. And if we hold, then I'll stick with the long bias and I'll look for continuation higher, right? So I guess let's just get into drawing, right? Felt a bit jumbled today, but that's okay. So we've got yesterday's low, which will be the lowest, and then we've got overnight high, which will be probably the highest. So we've got yesterday's low, settle, 5-day VPOC area, overnight low area, yesterday's high area, overnight VPOC, which is nice, which you are also now below and have to get through to continue higher. An overnight high. So I think that's everything, right? Or at least all the important stuff. We've got the naked stuff here on the right. Um, yeah, I think that's good. I think that's everything. Overnight high. I guess I should yesterday high, overnight low, settle, and yesterday's low. All right. So, yeah, like I said, a way we could be bullish today is on the test of this. I guess the two main ways, similar to yesterday, would be the one without the test of settle, which just, gets support right off the open and sort of pushes up. You'll likely have RTH as a potential, at least minor lean. But really, like on this initial push higher, you want to see it at least attempt to push through this overnight. It may not get it the first try because there was a decent bit of volume here, but if you can get through this overnight and full session VWAP area, then it looks pretty good for long. So you could do that right off the open on sort of a more aggressive push and go for overnight high and all this naked stuff. And that's what I forgot, the 44. 62.44. No? Or was it 63.44? Yeah, 63.44. So this is the swing high, the prior swing high. That's weak. That I said, like I said, I need it for me to say it's been extended and tested. I want it to be tested in the RTH. You don't have to. Like for some people, I'm sure that overnight test was good enough. That's just, I guess, more of just a preference thing, honestly. Yeah, so that would be a key thing to break, and then everything above here is gap, and then overnight high, because it's so far away, would be more the extended target as well as the naked stuff up here. And then from there, it's really just gap, right? So it's all just zone to zone. So, yeah, so overnight high, potentially, it's more of an extended target, but could pose some resistance, as we did, pretty cleanly reject it. Prior swing high as well will be a key resistance area on the RTH to watch for. And then the second way, obviously, would be I guess, let me see if I can do it like this. Test lower of settle. I want to try and just merge it so I don't have to draw it twice. So test lower of settle and pulls back to continue. Right? And so he could do it that way as well. See, so that's what I mean, when I guess I could just have done that, right? So we come down, test settle, and then sort of this stuff continues. Like overnight high, I'm still looking for relatively the same things. Swing high, I'll be looking for the same things, Overnight high, I'll be looking for the same things, right? So that's basically the two bullish scenarios. So now if we move to bearish, I guess I can go through. Bearish scenario would be potentially, again, sort of two ways. We could have the opposite where we come up on the bearish scenario and test overnight VPOC and then continue lower, or just the initial push for overnight low. But I'll only draw the one, which would be the, impulse below settle, ideally holds settle on a retest, and then goes for yesterday's low. That would be the main sell move, and that would sort of negate this long move that we did in the overnight. And so And so, yeah, once you get below settle, then you've got yesterday's low right below you. And then you've got one naked settle down in 61.14. And then you've got the 60.67 low, which is pretty far away, but that's the main low of this swing lower, I guess. This, I guess, weak pullback lower that we did at the end of last week. And so there's a bunch of stuff below us we could go to as well. And then we've got obviously the key stock zone even further below that. The purple one that I reference, that will be an important test when it comes. And so yesterday's low obviously will be a key support as well as settle. And when I say key support, like it's always just potential. Like this just could be an area where support potentially could come in, and so I want to watch the reaction here, right, and see what happens. That's all I mean when I say key support or key resistance. It just means potentially there could be somebody there, really. And so, yeah, that's the plan. I went a bit long today. Makes sense. Like I said, I felt a bit jumbled this morning, but I think we got a decent plan, and so I will try and trade it as best as I can and be back at the end of the day if I've had any trades. You know, I haven't had any trades the past, like, 4 or 5 days, so, like, that's why I haven't been posting the end of day videos. There's just hasn't been anything I can trade, and so, you know, sometimes that's going to happen and you just have to sit out. So eventually I'll have a trade, and so when I do, I'll be back, you know, for the end of day video. So see you then.